Yes, welcome back. And now we're just about to start. Well, after 3 weeks break, the National Conference resumed proceedings on Wednesday, August the 13th to conclude the work and approve the final report of the conference. While the plenary followed disagreements between North and Southern Middle Belts delegates over the reports and proposed amendments of the 1999 Constitution, saying they will not support it. Well, on August the 14th, the National Conference has come to an end, and the delegates agreed to a change in the document formerly known as the Draft Constitution through majority voice vote. They agreed to change the Draft Constitution 2014 to proposed amendment to 1999 Constitution. I guess a lot of people were wondering, you were not asked to do a draft constitution. And for that reason, quite a few of them, even within the National Conference, disagreed with the nomenclature Draft Constitution 2014. Well, to have the conversation with us in the studio, it's a great honor and privilege to welcome into our studio Reverend Tunde Bakare, who's a delegate to the National Conference. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, thank you very much.
And I must also say he is a lawyer, so he's looking at it from two perspectives, as a delegate who's been part of it, and also as a lawyer who understands the words of the law, the interpretation of all of the things that we'll be discussing this morning. And on the other side is Achike Chude, who's the Vice Chairman, Joint Action Front. Good morning and welcome.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
All right, I'll start with you, Pastor Bakare. First and foremost, how did it happen that some people decided they wanted to call this a Draft Constitution 2014? Was it a mishap? Was it a misunderstanding? Or was there some kind of unusual underhand tactics?
Thank you very much for that question. I think the clarification is necessary. The plenary, that is the whole of the conference, did not do any draft constitution. Each committee submitted its report. It was subject to endorsement and vote by the plenary. And when we finished what we agreed upon, we given to the management committee, the secretariat, if you say that. So the chairman, the deputy, the secretary, and the key pillars or leaders in the management team sat down to present to the plenary 3 volumes, and they called one of those volumes Draft Constitution, not the plenary.
Okay, so one of those was called a Draft Constitution.
Yes.
But how did they then get round to coming to a decision that, okay, we're sorry, this is not what this document should be named. Let's call it the amendment to 1999. How did you arrive at that decision?
It was not difficult. The secretariat or the management, the chairman and his team did a fabulous job within a short period. And I recall the chairman saying to the plenary that, look, we've done our honest best. There could be human errors. If you have any objection, write it down. Compare what we have produced with the Hansard. If we smuggle anything into the final document, nothing like that. It's just a matter of nomenclature. And he said anything that's due to human error can be corrected. All the noise was unnecessary. It wasn't necessary. All they did was to set the 1999 Constitution on one side, and then all the recommendations and the resolutions made on one side. And then the third column, they said, if we go by these resolutions, this is what we'll have. We will not have 1999 Constitution as it is. This is what it will become. And that's what they call a draft constitution. And said, look, since it's amendment, let us call it by its name. Whether it's Taiwo or Kehinde, the baby is born, let's run with it.
Okay. So in view of that then, sorry Yomi, in view of that then, how would you rate the work that you've done in terms of when you look at the amount of time that's been given, the amount of work that has been done over that period of time, some amount of acrimony and concern that this is going to become a debacle, it's going to become a free-for-all fight because there were disagreements, but somehow everything was contained. And you ended up, well, the juries are out, but you ended up in a way that some people will say you ended well. But how do you see it yourself, being a participant?
You know, I must give kudos to all delegates because with trustful give and take and a lot of maturity, and behind the scene bridge building amongst delegates, it was not difficult. We knew that it would not turn into a fiasco. It would become a free-for-all fight, and all's well that ends well. Kudos to the management team, the chairman, the deputy, the secretary. They were all level-headed, and they managed the proceedings very well. Were there tempers? Yes. But after each storm, there was calm, and we all worked together and sang our old national anthem, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand.
Talking about that national anthem, so we'll come to Chide in just a minute. When coming to that national anthem, a lot of young Nigerians have wondered what is wrong with majority of the old Nigerian having this feeling, this nostalgia for an old national anthem, and forgetting that the new one also has some good things or good words in there, especially the second stanza.
If you were there when I was there at Independence in school, you won't forget what happened that glorious night. I do not have any problems with a new national anthem, but the basis of our union more or less lost. You see, that first anthem said, our banner will not be stained. It had been stained over the years. And some will say, why do we go back to it? Whether you retain the new or you want the old, the conference adopted, let's go back to our original national anthem because it forged unity among us. This sounds strange. Even the beating sounds like a Uboni drum.
Mr. Chide, Pastor Bakari has said that, well, things overall went well with the national conference. What's your impression?
Well, Nigerians were watching it keenly, even though, of course, you know that there was a divided opinion with regards to the convocation of that conference in the first place. People talked about a conference that had to be sovereign, that would truly be representative of the will of the people ultimately at the end of the day. And for as long as that did not happen, what you're going to have, would be a talk shop. And there were those who were well skeptical, but said, well, let's give it a shot, because we are in a very, very difficult situation in Nigeria, and that the country can tilt over to a site that a lot of us would not be too comfortable with. And now those people said perhaps this would be the last chance at redressing some of the ills plaguing our country's trajectory all this while since independence and so on. So these were the things that actually played out. But one thing